SportsZone. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, and before we get into the rest of sports today, the Texas Wrestling Championship is this Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Pole Rec Center. Students can get in for $5, so make sure to go out, support the UNT wrestling team. Now, for SportsZone, joining me, Luke Rimler and Alex Salazar. Guys, we're going to talk about the UNT basketball game happening tonight. UNT's been on a roll lately. It was a bit of a slow start to the season. Things weren't really going exactly as you had hoped, but now on a 3-game win streak and a big game tonight. Luke, what have you seen from UNT basketball over the last couple weeks?
Yeah, I've been way more impressed. I remember at the beginning of the season, it just felt it was a whole new team, whole new coaching staff, whole new everything, and it was so hard to get into it. It just got off to such a slow start. But recently, obviously Dylan Arnett's been good all year. Jashawn Stevenson, he's been great. And recently, as you mentioned, 3-game winning streak, and got Tulane tonight. Just beat Memphis at the crib. It was amazing, great game. Dylan Arnett with a block to end the first half. They've been so much more fun to watch, and, take the dub tonight.
Yeah, they've definitely been a lot more fun to watch. It's been exciting. You mentioned the Temple game. Alex, that was a big-time comeback for UNT. They were down early, and it was really a rough first half. But I think for the first time in a minute, the UNT team has really been able to respond very well to that adversity. What did you see from them in the Temple game?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was a really close win that they had against Temple, and when heading into conference play, this team was sitting at 9-4. Like Luke said, there were a lot of questions about this team. I mean, whole completely new roster. Not a single player from last year's team is here now, and most of this team came in from transfers. I think about 4 or 5 of them came from Cleveland State, so you really didn't know. But this team is finally starting to find its footing. They had a 4-game losing streak in conference play, but they finally have begun a winning streak. And that big win against Memphis, I think, really kickstarted this team in the right direction. Like we just needed to stack wins, start stacking wins, start building confidence, especially now that we're getting towards the end of the season. Postseason's coming up. This conference, it's not a particularly strong conference. Teams at the top like UAB and Tulsa, they seem vulnerable. Tulsa even, UNT has a win against Tulsa, so, things are definitely looking up for UNT overall.
Absolutely. You kind of mentioned the origin of this little win streak here. You first had that win against UTSA, where definitely an inferior opponent, but still a good way to get started. And then the Memphis game, we previewed that on SportsZone last Tuesday. I know me and Luke were able to make it there right after the show. We got the second half, and this was a game where UNT really responded well. The first national ESPN Central game right here, not ESPN2, not you, true ESPN here for the first time in Denton, and they really responded well. We talked about the pressure of a national stage and how much a big win like that against a big opponent can make a difference for this team, and it really feels like they did. They used that, took the momentum into Temple. Luke, what did you see specifically from the Temple game?
The Temple game, it was obviously we had that big comeback in the second half. I really liked, we had the stars like usual, Dylan Arnett, Sean Stevenson, as I mentioned before. Then you also had David Terrell, and you had E.J. Horton finishing the game really strong. David Terrell only shot 1 for 9 on the game, but he was 6 for 7 from the line, and just the free throws looked a lot better. They're shooting just 70% from the line on the year, with Dylan Arnett only shooting 45 from the line. He's shooting 48 from the floor, so that's an appalling number. So it's really a lot of free throws, and David Terrell was able to land those, and I think that was the big part of the success, is just the role players being able to come out and finish. I feel like that's been part of the problem, is finishing the games, and sometimes the role players are what you need.
It's a great point, and this is a game where, like you said, it was a slow start. They found a way to get back on track. Arnett had 14 points, Jashawn Stevenson 13, and E.J. Horton 12 points and 4 rebounds as well. So really a good way for them to step up. This is not a team that is going to be led by one superstar. You kind of had that early in the season with Will McClendon. This was supposed to be sort of your main guy, the offense run through him. Unfortunately, he tore his ACL just 4 games into the season, so you don't have that anymore. Now it's much more of, like you said, the reserves. Who can step up on any given night? Alex, who do you think could really step up for this team, and especially going into tonight's game?
I think it's the guy that right now leads the team in points. I think it is Jashawn Stevenson. Okay. I got to talk to him and Will McClendon towards the beginning of the year, and getting a feel for who Jashawn was, you could see the talent even in that first season at Cleveland State. He was I believe it was the Horizon Conference, the Horizon League, the freshman of the year. So you saw the talent, you saw the promise with Stevenson, and now that with McClendon unfortunately out, he's been given the keys to the offense, and you see what he's doing. Nearly 17 points a game, and he's getting it done. He's shooting a little under 40% from the field. You'd like to see that up, but the points are there. He's really been the catalyst for these recent wins so far, and he's going to be the catalyst if he can get this team further into March.
Absolutely. He's really stepped up over recent weeks, and I really look for him to continue to develop and really maybe step into that kind of one role. You know, I think he really has that potential. It's going to be exciting to continue to watch him. But tonight, UNT taking on Temple. After the win streak, UNT is now up to 15-11, still 6-7 in conference, so a little bit of ground to make up there. Taking on Tulane, who's 15-10, 6-6 in conference play. Luke, what are you looking to see from UNT tonight against Temple? Do you think they can get this win?
I have 3 keys. I think you need to attack early, stay on top. The thing with Temple is, yeah, we came out with the win, but started slow and it got scary. Had the great comeback, but you need to get on top early. You need to ride your stars, Dylan Arnett, Jashawn Stevenson, and then you need to make your free throws. And we've talked about that already on the show. You need to make your free throws. Shooting 70% from the line as a team is beyond terrible, and it's gotten better recently. I think it was down to 62 at one point in the year or something, and it's just, you need to make your free throws, I think, is the biggest out of all the problems.
Absolutely. From day one of this team, when they started back last year, it has really been one consistent has been the free throw shooting. It just, for some reason, has not really been what you're looking for. This is a team that is a scrappy team. I think, we talked about it. They really have a lot of different players who can make plays, but making/missing free throws can really be the complete, point of a game going one way or another. This is a team that has to be competitive in these games in every aspect. And when you give up free points like that, I think we've continued to see that result. Losing close games, and they have been better, like you said, over recent games. Alex, do you think they can continue to do better from the free throw line?
I think they can. I mean, it really is just something that will get better with practice. And I think in this game, another key to look out for is how they defend Rowan Brumbaugh, the Tulane leading scorer. He's going to be the key focus on the defensive side for Tulane. And, this team, even back when Ross Hodge and Grant McCaslin were the coaches, it's been a defensive-focused school, a defensive-focused team. And even now, to an extent, that still is the focus and the identity of this UNT team. So I'd like to see how they defend a high scorer and a key focus like Brumbaugh is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be important for them defensively. This is a team that focuses a lot on defense. Daniel Robinson tried to bring over that physicality and that defensive attack. And Daniel Robinson, obviously, in his first year, like most of the players, Luke, I'll ask you, what have you seen from him so far, and what other adjustments do you think this team can make down the stretch?
I mean, honestly, there's not a lot you can expect with an entirely new roster. And you have the players that you've had before, right? But it's an entirely new school, entirely new roster for the school. A lot of the guys haven't played together. Obviously, some of them have at their previous school. And there's not a whole lot you can expect jumping into D1 like this, even though it's just the American Conference. It's a big jump up to D1. And, you can't expect much, I feel like, from this team. They're younger. They're not as experienced. And they're putting up, we're over 500. We have a shot at the NIT. We have a shot at the conference tournament. So I really think, honestly, it's been a successful season, all things considered.
Yeah, it's fair. There's definitely a lot of turnover. You talked about players, of course, the coach as well. This was always going to be a learning curve for this team. I think we've seen and kind of been spoiled by some really, really good recent success over the last few seasons. So it's sort of hard to kind of step into a bit of a rebuild, but that's just kind of the reality of being a smaller school, of being sort of a middle ground type of area. But now we have seen some improvement. We've seen this progress. And now with UNT 10th in the American Conference, right on the bubble of that AAC Conference Championship tournament potential. Alex, do you think they have a chance to really lock in this season and make it in?
I think they do, and I think it's going to start today. Over-under set at 6.5. Give me UNT, I'll say, final score 82-76. UNT get the victory.
All right, you heard it here first. We'll have to watch. Make sure to get that game starting at 8. Make sure to tune in. But for now, we're going to move on and talk about the Winter Olympics coming up next.
I wonder what's on the radio today. I don't know about this. This is not it.
Everything alternative, commercial free. 88.1 Indy.
Here at KNTU, we have two traditional stations, 88.1 Indie and KNTU Jazz. We've also recently launched an internet radio station called Mean Green Hits. If you want to hear more, you can check us out at MediaNorthTexas.com.
That was pretty good.
Welcome back to Sports Zone. I am joined by Cade Codina and Sam Little. And guys, we got to talk about the Winter Olympics. It's been going on for the last week plus, but it's really been an exciting Olympics really throughout. Team USA has really done a great job, especially today. There are a lot of great headlines today, so we're going to get to it. But I'll let you start us off, Cade. What have you seen so far in these Olympics and from Team USA?
Team USA, I think this has been a huge improvement over last Olympics. I feel like last Olympics, the Winter Olympics just kind of passed by. USA, I don't know, they didn't really do much, but now like you're hearing a lot, we're making a lot of noise in sports that, let's be honest, is not our top priority. So it's great to see Team USA doing really well. Let me just say, I think the biggest takeaway has to be the women's hockey team. We're going to get to it later, but man, what a game. That was incredible to watch.
Yeah, that's called a tease right there. So we will get to that about halfway through. But Sam, I'll let you talk about it first. USA has really done a good job making up ground in recent days, now up to second in the medal count, just behind Norway. They passed Italy. What have you seen from Team USA over the last few days?
I definitely think that we're showing why that we have some of the finest athletes in the world. Like you mentioned, starting in fourth or fifth, and then just slowly making their way up. I think that they're doing a great job of gritting it out, showing what being a U.S. Olympic athlete's all about. And so shout out to Alyssa Liu. I think that's
Alyssa Liu, yeah.
Alyssa Liu for breaking the 24-year streak of the U.S. not having the gold medal in figure skating, and they did it. Just yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, or no, it just happened today.
Just
happened
today.
today. Yeah, Alyssa Liu, man, what a star. She's just so cool. She has the swag, the look, just the she's cool, man. Like, I want to be her. I want to know her. I want to date her. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no. But like Alyssa Liu, I mean, what a performance. I feel like she's been the Olympic sweetheart all these Olympics, and she's done really great. And I've really enjoyed watching her go. And yeah, first gold medal in figure skating in about 24 years is impressive.
Alyssa Liu has been amazing in this Olympics, and she's come into a U.S. figure skating team with a whole lot of new. We talked, about the age, especially with Ilya Malinin last week. Had some struggles, great in the team event, not really as good, in the individual stuff happened there. But Alyssa Liu, at just 20 years old, comes in and, as you said, breaks this 24-year, sort of down streak. Instead, goes in, individual figure skating, breaks it, gets a gold medal. So incredible for this figure skating team. How much do you think that means to her, Cade, and just being 20 years old? I mean, she has her whole career ahead of her.
I mean, it's the Olympics. It's what you work for your entire life, man. It's amazing, and she's been a huge representation for Asian Americans all around the world, including me. Like, it's just so cool to see someone who looks like her, someone who acts like her, someone who's like our age, getting the spotlight in the Olympics. It feels like now you can see a little bit of yourself in her on that screen. It's just so cool to see, man. She's just so cool, man.
It's a great way to say it, because she is so cool, and just to be able to do this at such a young age, it's impressive to say the very least. But to break that 24-year streak, how much do you think that means, Sam, to USA figure skating?
I definitely think that it's kind of hopefully opens the floodgates with her being so young. So I think that when the 2030 games roll around, and even 34, I think that the U.S. is always going to have someone that's willing to go get the gold. And also it sets the standard for the girls that are younger than her. You know, like you mentioned with Ilya, him being so young as well. So the U.S. is going to be in great hands with the youth aspect of it. They just have got to be able to get over the hump of the rest of the world. And so hopefully with their youth and they're gaining experience every day and, you know, winning gold, I think that they're going to do a really good job here in the next 8 to 12 years.
Absolutely. I mean, you just come in at 20 years old and you already won a gold medal. It's impressive, it's incredible, and it's just the beginning for her. So it's going to be exciting. I hope we talk a lot more about her in the upcoming years. But I do want to get into what you mentioned earlier, Cade, the U.S. women's hockey team. Oh, man, it's been fun to watch. We talked about them last week, getting through the prelims undefeated, only allowing 1 point through all of those games. And then it all came down to earlier this afternoon playing against Team Canada. Team USA versus Team Canada is so much of a rivalry in all of hockey, but especially women's. They have met repeatedly over the last few years. And this was a very, very exciting game. Cade, tell me what you saw from it.
Hey, this is revenge for Canada beating us in the FIBA World Tournament about 4 years ago. So this feels nice. This is nice to have. We beat y'all at your best sport on our fourth sport. So yeah, I mean, the women's team has been incredible, like you said, all Olympics long. And today was obviously going to be their biggest test against a proven champion, against our biggest rival. It's pure cinema, man. Like, we're kind of underdogs in a way because we are Team America and, you know, hockey's not our sport. And just the way we won was crazy. I mean, we go down early 1-0 and then we couldn't score until the third period with 2 minutes left. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But yeah, Captain America, Hillary Knight, what a play. And then overtime, we get Megan Keller with the win. But I think the MVP has to go to our goalie, Aaron Frankel, who's been great all Olympics long.
Yeah, it was incredible. And, you know, you broke it down there. I just want to expand because this is a game where, of course, against Team Canada, but I think this is a USA team has been incredible. I think the expectations were through the roof, especially how they played earlier in this tournament. Just to remind you guys, they beat Canada 5-0 when they played them in prelims. However, Team Canada, we know they're going to be tough. We know it's going to be a little bit different when it comes to the gold medal match. So this is a game, Canada took the lead early, 1-0, and U.S., as you said, did not score until the third period. I believe 2:04 left. They pulled their goalie. All the chips were out there. They knew what they had to do. And as you said, just an incredible play there. I mean, by Hillary Knight, the captain, now the most goals by a USA hockey player. Absolutely incredible. Getting it in the biggest moment to force overtime. And then in OT, you know, this is 3-on-3 hockey for 20 minutes, as long as it takes to see who scores first. 3-on-3 hockey is very difficult. There's zero room for error. And then we saw that play. I wish we could show the highlights for you guys, but it would get copyrighted. So I'm just going to walk you through it. It was incredible. Megan Keller gets a bit of a breakaway. The puck was loose, goes around, dekes the defender, around to the goalie, puts it in net. It was one of the most beautiful hockey plays I've ever seen. As you said, absolute cinema. It was incredible. Sam, what did you see from this team overall and, of course, this gold medal game?
I definitely thought that this team, like you mentioned, when all the chips are in, you know, they had to have it and they did it. I want to give a shout out to Hannah Bilka for being right down the road in Coppell. Somebody from the DFW had, I know she didn't score, but had an impact in the gold medal game. So shout out to her. And also, I just think that the feeling of when Freebird went off for the final time, and then during the national anthem, so the pride that those ladies felt. And like you mentioned, with Canada being one of the better teams, to beat the woman, you got to beat the woman. Mm-hmm. And the U.S. gets to hold that title for 4 more years until the next games.
Yeah, it was incredible. When Freebird went off, I mean, it was chills in that arena. It was absolutely incredible. USA defeats Canada. So for the women's, they have done it. They have accomplished it. They have held up gold medals. It's done. For the men's, there's still some work to do. This is a team so far also undefeated in this tournament. They had an overtime game coming off against Latvia. So this is a game, it was tough, but they got through it. And now going into the semifinals, they're going to be playing against Slovakia. That's going to be a game tomorrow. The U.S. men's team has not been maybe the easiest road compared to maybe the dominance we've seen from the women. But I'll ask you, Cade, what have you seen from them so far? What can they do to get the win?
resilience, man. Like after that game against Sweden, I truly believe this team can really go all the way. After that game, Sweden, who's a pretty proven opponent, pretty solid in hockey.
Yes.
Yeah, Quinn Hughes, shout out to him for getting that goal to take us there. I'm really excited to see the rest of the team. Yeah, we gotta look forward to that game. But honestly, after seeing the women, why not? Why not the men take the gold as home as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the women, Team USA men's undefeated in prelims, had some great games, and of course that OT game against Sweden, huge one to get to this point. Sam, what are you looking to see from this team going into this next game?
I believe that the defense is going to matter. You can't win the game if you give up goals, and especially with a really good team like that the Americans are going to play, and you're going to have to. It's like in football, you kind of have to bring your run game and your defense, but I think the U.S. is going to have to take care of the puck, play well on defense, and if you have to win at 1-0, great. If you have to win at 6-5, I believe that they have the tools to do it. So I'm excited, and hopefully we can bring both medals home so we can be considered the best hockey country in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal. Obviously, still some work to do. That gold medal game would be on Sunday, and I want to talk about Team Canada and Team Finland. They are the other two teams in the semifinals. So this is two incredibly loaded hockey teams. I think really the two top ones left outside of Team USA. Obviously, I'm not going to sneeze at Slovakia, but definitely Finland and Canada. Either one would be a very difficult opponent in that gold medal match. Cade, what are you looking to see from that game, and who do you think comes out on top?
I mean, let's not look too far ahead, especially for Team USA, because, every time we do that, we tend to lose. So let's be focused on Slovakia. Let's get that done first. Let's take care of business. But honestly, who wouldn't want to see USA versus Canada again? Do a sequel, do a rematch, a spin-off, whatever you want to call it. That would be pure cinema to see that matchup happen again. That would be really fun. Obviously, Canada is a juggernaut in hockey. Obviously, there always are. So it'd be really fun to see that. Let's see the ultimate underdog again.
It absolutely would. I would love to get some revenge for that Four Nations face-off, but we will see those games, hopefully get there. It's going to be really exciting. Make sure to catch that on Friday and Sunday. But now we're going to move over and talk about the Daytona 500.
Are you tired of seeing the same old city? You want to learn something and go overseas? Then Study Abroad will
I didn't talk for too damn long this time.
You can find a Study Abroad office right here at Markey Hall, room 145.
My Study Abroad program left on me a great impression. We have a lot of different programs and it varies. We have faculty-led, affiliate, and exchange programs. When you're ready to leave for your Study Abroad program from UNT, you're going to go through the Canvas, you're going to go through pre-departure, orientation, and modules.
The power to turn the world into your classroom is right here at UNT with our Study Abroad programs. Take flight and take in charge of your education.
There's no harm in wanting to have fun while in college, but it's easy to lose track of how much you've had. Apps like Drink Control and Alkadroid can help keep track of your consumption and blood alcohol levels. If you or someone else does drink too much, the signs of alcohol poisoning are as follows: pale skin, vomiting, confusion, low body temperatures, irregular breathing, blacking out, and is hard to wake up or cannot be woken up.
Dude, are you okay? Hey, what's wrong? Wake up.
It's an exciting time of year, but it's important to be responsible. If you suspect someone is suffering from alcohol poisoning, get help immediately. You will not get in trouble for seeking help if you are underage. For more info and resources, go to UNT's Division of Student Affairs.
I use Flex to buy my favorite snacks.
I use Flex to get me through my mornings.
I use Flex at my favorite campus restaurants. I love how Flex is a cashless payment method and can be used at all campus dining venues.
So, how do you use Flex?
Welcome back to Sports Zone. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, joined by Maria Gonzalez and Sam Little. Guys, we're going to talk about the Daytona 500. Happened this past weekend, and it was a wild race, to say the very least. The Daytona 500 kicks off the season here for NASCAR and the Cup Series, so it's been an exciting, start. Long off season. We're finally here. Definitely exciting. for this NASCAR race to get going again. Daytona 500 is always going to be the biggest race in NASCAR, and just for this one to be live, to be done, it was incredible. And just the way getting there was definitely something to behold. As we'll watch the highlights in just a moment. But this was a last lap of epic proportions. It was really incredible. Sam, I'll ask you first. What did you see from this race, all 200 laps of it?
Yeah, 200 laps is a lot, especially with a lot of left turns. And so, like you mentioned, this race going down to the final lap with the spin out and stuff like that, I'm very proud of what happened for this NASCAR race. The Daytona is the most famous race, like you mentioned, and so I think that with what Tyler Reddick was able to do is, kind of stay in the hunt, wait for a mistake to happen, and then, take the win for your first ever Daytona 500 win. I think that was definitely one of those cinema sports moments. You don't hear it a whole lot in NASCAR because, left turn for 200 laps. And, it's not really interesting, but that was one of the memorable ones.
Absolutely. Memorable to say the least. And this was a race for Tyler Reddick that was, he was not the favorite by any means going into this race. He did not lead at any point other than that very last lap. So, Maria, what did you see from him and his comeback in this race?
Oh, from starting from the very back, from 26th, he pulled like that patience move. That's what I call patience, because he was always waiting for the right time until like the last lap where we had that multi-car crash. That was insane. That was absolutely insane. Where he just he just waited and his teammate gave him like the push, and then he pulled through and he managed to win in the very last seconds of that last lap. That was incredible to do, and he was like, it was his first time winning the Daytona 500, which is the most famous NASCAR race.
Absolutely. It was just a race of epic proportions. And then this is one where, any time you have 200 laps, it's obviously going to be a process. And as you said, just the patience of him to be able to work through it was excellent. But Sam, just take me through this race as a whole. There were a lot of ups and downs. What did you see overall?
I definitely saw the best that NASCAR had to offer. Like she mentioned with Reddick's patience, I definitely think that you have to have a lot of that, especially when you're driving a 200 mile an hour car. Things are going to go wrong, and I think that the way that that these NASCAR drivers are able to handle themselves while essentially driving a rocket is pretty cool. NASCAR is one of those kind of I would call it extreme sports. You're driving really fast. Yes, it's in a circle, but still, I think we saw the best and brightest of what NASCAR has to offer, especially with Tyler winning by a split second, and also just to be able to get his first. I think that you mentioned the legends of NASCAR, Richard Petty, Dale Sr., who actually the 25th anniversary of his passing during Turn 3 of Daytona was yesterday. Just all the legends of the sport within recent memory. I think that if you don't win Daytona, you're kind of not in that club, and hopefully with this win that Tyler Reddick can springboard this into a very successful NASCAR racing career.
Definitely, and for him, just a thrill to be able to come out on top of this, but it was not easy, to say the least, and just that last lap was kind of the culmination of all the wild and chaos that we sometimes see in a NASCAR race. We had multiple multi-car crashes just on that last lap. Maria, what did you see specifically on that last lap of the race?
Oh, of course, we had Carson Hocevar, who was leading the last lap at the first, and then we had like a multi-car crash first. And I didn't think that much was gonna happen in those last seconds until we had that slip up by Chase Elliott, and then we had that slip up right there, and then like Tyler Reddick had to pull through, but it was like insane cars. A lot of people said it should have been yellow flagged, but I defer because there's no point in yellow flagging a race that's literally about to end. Although some rules say that you have to yellow flag if there's a car crash, it was literally the last seconds of the race, so there's no point in doing that at that point.
Yeah, so a great point there, because that's exactly where I wanted to go next. The controversy of the end of this race is, if you guys saw the highlights, it was chaos. So you had the first crash where there were cars spinning out off the road, and then a second one at the very end. This is just about as chaotic as a NASCAR race can get. And normally, you see that yellow flag go out. That's the caution flag. They reset, get everything set, solid again, make sure everyone's safe and good. But of course, it's a little complicated when it's the very last lap of the race. Definitely some different takes. Sam, do you think there should have been that yellow caution flag?
I think that it was a good no call. I think that sometimes in sports you got to let great moments happen. Yes, it did come at the cost of someone that was supposed to win the Daytona 500 not winning it. But I think it was a great no call by NASCAR and the race officials, and also like we mentioned, we may be talking about this race for the next 5 to 10 years, all because of a no yellow flag that was put out, especially on turn 3 of the last lap. So I think that shout out to whoever said no, we're going to let this race go in, because if I think that you kind of dilute the finish of it and it's not as pure, and so I think that when you do have the yellow flag on the last lap, and the chaos is just going to break out. But I think that the way they handled that was going to be talked about for the next 5 to 10 years.
I can definitely see both sides of the argument, because of course you want everyone to be safe, you want it all to be said, but at the same time I think a last lap of a car race is just maybe one of the most pure, rawest moments in all of sports. And for here in this race, I think that's exactly what it was. You called it raw, you called it pure, and I think that's really what this is. You know, this is a point in this race where everything is on the line. Of course, chaos happened. You know, it was wild, but I agree with you guys in the call and no call, because this is the best, as you said, NASCAR has to offer. So it's definitely tough. It's definitely difficult. Tyler Reddick definitely comes out on top, but I think it was big. Looking at the other drivers, though, Sam, what do you think about the finish and then just all the chaos that ensued?
Yeah, I definitely think that Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski, you know, kind of getting the short end of the stick on that. It's definitely going to take some healing. You know, you're so close, but then you're so far away at the same time. I just wanted to point out Tyler with Team Jordan Brand Racing, the 23 team. That was their first Daytona 500 since Denny Hamlin's not racing anymore, because him and Michael Jordan have that partnership. But yeah, Logano and then Keselowski and then also Chase Hovacar was in the lead at that point when when the white flag came out for the last lap. He was in the lead, and then like we mentioned on turn 3, I think that the short end of the stick isn't the greatest place to be, but I think that's what makes sports so great, because, you know, minor setback, major comeback is next year. Keselowski or Logano could come back and win the whole dang thing.
Absolutely, and winding out the podium, it was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in second, and then Joey Logano at third. I mean, it's just the most incredible finish. I mean, this is wild, because you have each of these cars literally spinning across the finish line, looking at Stenhouse and Logano, because they were sort of clipped in the end of the race there. Logano's car specifically, you had the other cars coming in, and he found a way to just avoid it both times and truly spinning to the finish. Found a way to get it done, and then, of course, Tyler Reddick gets the win. And this is maybe one of the most improbable victories, but definitely an incredible start to this season. Maria, what are you looking to see from NASCAR as we continue to watch through the Cup Series?
Yeah, of course we have the return of the old school format, which is more consistency. That's the thing that matters the most now. It's consistency, because like the teams have to like really stay on the innovation, really polish some mistakes they have to have. We also have Kyle Larson's championship defense out there. Like he's entering, and everyone's chasing him during this 2026 season. He's the one to beat this new season. And then we have the rise of young talent. We have Connor Silik, which is like the rookie right now. He's getting a lot of attention right now. So we have those 3 biggest storylines for the 2026 season of NASCAR.
Absolutely. A lot of incredible storylines, and maybe the best start you could ever see at the Daytona 500. But we're going to move over and talk some NBA basketball coming up next.
Oh, hey! What's up? Nothing much. I'm really bored. I feel like there's nothing to do.
Are you kidding? The MRTS picture show is happening.
The MRTS what?
Come with me.
Okay.
It's a series of free film screenings right here on campus. And there's free popcorn.
Nice. Thank you.
The do's and don'ts of the Pole Rec Center. See that man over there? Please do not hog weights. Instead, do this. Another important part is having an attentive spotter. See, here is an example of a non-attentive spotter. Instead, do this. Now we head to the track, which should be pretty easy, just it's important to pay attention to the way the track goes. Remember to wipe down the equipment after you're done using it. The towels are provided by the gym, so it's pretty easy to wipe down the equipment when you are done. Thank you for using the Pole Recreation Center.
Welcome back to Sports Zone. I am joined by Brady Whitson and Rohan Srinivasan. And guys, the All-Star break is over, and now it's time for the second half of some NBA basketball. It's been a very turbulent season, a lot of different things going on. Rohan, tell me about some of your top storylines so far this season.
Top stories or funny ones? Because I got a funny one
Let's
for
hear
you.
it.
Luka, Chris Middleton swap? Are you kidding me? Just a year later? They call themselves professionals, Stephen. Stephen, I don't know how they're doing this, but whenever you really look at it, right? Anthony Davis, did they have some merit for trading him essentially for Luka Doncic? Did he play well? Well, let's look at the statistics. As of January 2026, and again, I have to say January because the last time these two played on the court, Anthony Davis was injured on January 8th. So I can only take that as a reference. Anthony Davis, 407 points this season. Luka Doncic, 408 in just the first quarter. We're not even counting 3/4 of the entire game, ladies and gentlemen. We're not even counting quarters 2, 3, and 4. Luka Doncic has outscored him in quarter 1 than Anthony Davis has in the entire game.
Well, in the words of Stephen A., blasphemy, absolute blasphemy
Seriously.
was that trade. And, I mean, we can talk about it over and over again. I don't want to beat a dead horse too much. But obviously, we saw the Anthony Davis trade, ships him over to Washington. The Mavs really just trying to kind of cut their losses, get everything they possibly can from AD and now work towards building in the future. So for the Mavericks, some other storylines with them. Kyrie Irving has officially been ruled out for the rest of the season. He tore his ACL around this time last season. It's been almost a year removed from that injury. Hoping he could return post All-Star break, but now with the Mavs sitting at 12th in the West, it's just really not worth it for them. I don't know. It's tough. You know, obviously you want to see your best play, but Brady, do you think this is the right move to just have him sit?
Yeah, absolutely. This season is a lost cause, and pretty much everything from here on out is going to be around Cooper Flag, trying to tank out, just trying to hit rock bottom and get a better draft pick in efforts to pair a good young player alongside Cooper Flag. But yeah, there's really no point in Kyrie Irving coming back at this point. Just, heal him up, and you're going to be getting an all-NBA level guard to pair with Cooper Flag next season. So it's going to be great next season, but, yeah.
Yeah, next season might be the hope. And I tend to agree with you there. I think with Kyrie, this is a player that, unfortunately, when he was injured, he was playing 40 minutes a game. He was doing absolutely everything for this team. Definitely wanted him to come back fully healthy. But you also bring up the interesting topic of tanking, where this is a team and a point where it's kind of understandable because you're trying to go young, but at the same time, we heard some comments from Mark Cuban discussing tanking. It's been a hot topic over the last couple of days. Rohan, tell me about tanking in the NBA, and do you think the NBA needs to make any adjustments to the rules to kind of avoid it?
Well, to be quite honest with you, people pay their hard-earned money to go and see the NBA stars play. And if I'm paying excess amount of $1,000 and I see Brandon Williams on the court, Moussa Cisse for all people, that is not worth my money. And I only pay to go watch Luka Doncic come back to Dallas. And the reason why it's so frustrating is because they have the audacity to bump up ticket prices by 9% the previous year as soon as you trade Luka Doncic. The nerve, Stephen, really.
Yeah, the nerve is right. And from an organizational standpoint, we can go on and on. But like you said, it feels like everything that they stood for and everything, trying to have loyalty and put the fans first has really gone out the window. And I think that's an interesting topic of looking at tanking because you hear wanting to put on your best product for the fans. But at the same time, fans want the best product in terms of maybe it's draft picks. Maybe that's building towards the future. Brady, how do you feel about the conversation of tanking? And do you think the NBA will make any adjustments?
I don't think so. I don't think there's really a logical path for them to take. I just think the lottery is, a good spot for them. I don't think that, tanking should be set up in a way where the worst record gets the number 1 pick. I think tanking would just be disgusting in the NBA. Like, teams might genuinely win 2 games a season, especially in drafts like this. So I don't think that would be, I don't think that should change anything. I think the lottery is just fine the way it is.
I think it's fair. It's obviously complicated and you have, all the different viewpoints, but I heard some rumors about maybe a tournament for the worst teams. And I think all that, I just think you're doing a little bit too much. I think right now we just need to focus on the competitive teams. You already got the in-season tournament. I think that's enough. And then for these teams, just hoping, they can rebuild organically, do it the right way, as we've seen from some of the teams at the top this season. You look at OKC, you look at San Antonio. These are teams just a few years ago that were in these rebuilds, and now the very top of the NBA. So speaking of that, Brady, tell me some of your championship favorites so far this season.
Yeah, I think in the East you have, the upper group. I think the Pistons, the Knicks, and the Cavs are really that upper tier of teams that I would say are the main contenders. And of those three, I would say the Cavs are probably my favorites right now, especially with getting James Harden. I think that's such a ceiling raiser for them. And in the West, I would say the Thunder. I just think they're head and shoulders above every other team in the league. But, the Nuggets or even the Spurs could give them a run. So.
How about the Celtics at 35-9? Him coming back, that can change the whole scheme of things. So I don't agree with the Cavs pick, obviously, because James Harden, what is he known for? Not showing up in the biggest of moments. But again, Thunder, you are right about that because they have the best record in the NBA. One more loss than the Pistons. I don't trust them down the stretch. So right now you have to say Thunder, but if Luka gets going, Steven, oh man, we have a show.
All right. I know you're a big Luka fan, and I know you throw some support behind the Lakers. Obviously, sitting at 5th, I believe, in the West right now.
Right.
So, some ground to make up, but definitely a competitive West. Do you think they can make it up? Who do you think is your favorite coming out of the Western Conference?
Absolutely. I definitely think they can make it up. And by the way, there is a player on the Lakers who is averaging 33, 8, and 9. I don't know what else you have to do to really put him in the MVP discussion. No Shea, no Jokic, not anybody else. It's Luka Doncic, the NBA's league-leading scorer, who will take them into the Western Conference Finals, in my opinion.
All right, so there's your MVP pick right there. Rohan, we want to talk a little bit more about the awards. We have your MVP. We're going to talk Defense Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year. Let's hear them.
Simply, Defensive Player of the Year, Wemby. Rookie of the Year, Cooper Flag. But in second place, Colin Knippelman, on Mark Aguirre, jersey retirement night, 8 of 12 from deep, 34 points. I mean, he's right behind Cooper Flag. Obviously, I have Coop as the number one, don't get me wrong. But man, this guy can ball, and the steal of the draft, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah, what he's been doing is really impressive. Trying to give Cooper Flag a run for his money as we look at Rohan's picks right here. Brady, what do you think about those?
I agree with Cooper Flag and Victor Wembanyama, but I don't agree with Luka Doncic. I just don't think they're going to win enough games.
Okay.
Even with how good he is, I just don't think their roster is very good.
And do you think it is a most valuable team award or most valuable player, if you had to say?
Oh, it is a most valuable player award, but I mean, you still have to win games. So I do think in the most valuable sense, Luka probably is the most valuable.
Fair.
But I just don't think they're going to win enough games for him to win it.
I like your Shea pick. Because everybody right here is in foul trouble right now, so.
I like that. It's an interesting point because I think, balancing that conversation of are you looking at the player or the team first. Brady, tell me about your MVP picks.
Yeah, so kind of going off the Luka thing, they're not going to win enough games. The Thunder are. And so I think when you look at the MVP pick this season, I think it is going to go to the best player on the best team, and that is Shea on the Thunder. Also think Shea is he's taken another step up this season, shooting 39% from three. And I just think that, yeah, I mean, I just don't see how the voters aren't going to give it to him with just how good they are and how good he is. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Shea is going to get the most votes.
Well, I will say this. When the Mavs were a 5th seed just 2 years ago, they ended up making the finals and beating who? The 1 seed Thunder, with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, with Chet Holmgren and all those boys. I typically feel that the NBA voters, they look at the team itself and really not what the player is actually doing. They're not interested in 33, 8, and 9. They're interested in what the team actually does. Fine, they're 33 and 21. They're the 5th seed. Thunder's the 1 seed. Fine. But is Shea really the reason why they're the 1 seed? Yes, part of it. But they have role players around them that the Lakers don't, right, Steven?
Yeah, they have an extremely deep team, and that kind of brings me to my picks. I do have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I just think that in a loaded, there's a lot of good talent, absolutely. But this is a team that has been incredible in the OKC Thunder, and that's why I also have Chet Holmgren as my Defensive Player of the Year. I saw both you guys had Wemby, and I do agree with it. I think as of now, if the season ended today, I think Wemby wins that. I really do. And then, of course, I have Cooper Flag at my Rookie of the Year. But I want to talk a little bit more on Defense Player of the Year, because my thought here is for Victor Wembanyama, it's been incredible. Just the energy he brought to that All-Star game, we'll talk about that in our next block, absolutely amazing. And I think what he's done turning around the Spurs team, incredible. However, though, there's a new rule. You have to play 65 games to be eligible for end-of-the-season awards. So if he misses just 4 more games, no longer eligible. Do you think, I'll ask you, Rohan, do you think that if he does end up not meeting that mark, like last year what happened, I think he honestly could have won Defensive Player of the Year last season before the blood clot. Do you agree with this rule?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Now, I'm not advocating for, hey, be an Anthony Davis and only play 30 games a season. But I would say 55 to 60 is a really good number for me. However, Wemby has time. He's going to win DPOYs for the rest of his career. So if he doesn't meet the minimum required amount of games, that's absolutely fine. Luka, Shea, Jokic, all of them are looking to be on track to meet those games, and that's why I have Luka in my opinion. But Defensive Player of the Year, you can't question it. Wemby's clearly the front runner for it if he just plays enough games.
No, I agree. He definitely is the front runner, and I want to say that full disclosure, but I just really think that, over a season where he's faced some injuries, I'm not sure if he's able to meet that minimum. So we'll have to see, but we're going to move over now and talk about the state of the All-Star games coming up next.
Has this ever happened to you?
My bike! My bike is gone!
Stolen bikes are an epidemic sweeping college campuses across America.
What am I supposed to do?
It's quite simple. The We Mean Green Fund has partnered with the UNT Police Department to offer free bike locks to any UNT student with a bike. Just show up with your bike in tow and ask.
Now I'll never lose my bike ever again.
Enough worrying. Get your bike lock today.
Good evening, my name is Amanda Hasbell, and I'm joining you here today in the Union Parking Garage. Today we're going to be going over how to drive safely in the parking garage. Let's go see. Oh my god! Oh my god! This girl just got hit by a car. Let's go see what happened. Ma'am, are you okay? Are you okay?
Did you see that lady hit me with a car?
Yeah, we did. I got it all on video.
Oh my god.
Let's go over here and talk about how we can prevent that.
Yeah, not the hospital.
Well, right now we're going to ask you a couple questions on how we can drive safely in the parking lot. What are ways that we can be aware of our surroundings?
Oh, we can look both ways.
Jenna, also, how about putting the distractions away?
Yes, just like our phones, turning our music down, and also not focusing on our passengers.
Where can you get information on how to get a parking pass?
Transportation.unt.edu.
If you park in a garage, make sure you pay on the app or look for further instructions on how you should pay.
And remember, no pass, no park. Let's all try to keep our Mean Green community safe.
Remember, we're all in this together.
Drive safe.
Back to SportsZone. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, joined by Carson Stark and Jaden Crumpton. And guys, we just finished talking about the NBA and talking about the second half of the season, but now I want to talk about what we saw this last weekend, which was NBA All-Star Weekend. So I know it feels kind of backwards, but the reason I want to talk about the All-Star now is because I want to discuss not just what we saw, the product on the court, but maybe just the system as a whole. This is an All-Star game that has changed pretty much every single year over the last few years. They've really been Adam Silver and the NBA trying to find an initiative to make it interesting, to make fans, make viewers tune in. And we saw a different format this year. We saw Team World versus Team USA, Stars and Stripes. Carson, overall, what did you see from this new All-Star format?
I thought it was interesting. To be honest with you, I think Adam Silver is just really trying anything at this point because there's a lot of backlash towards it. I want to say there hasn't really been a good All-Star weekend since maybe 2022 that took place in Cleveland with the whole NBA 75th anniversary thing. I think it's really carried the weekend. It's lost a lot of its touch. I think guys are kind of just too cool now. This year with the whole Stars versus Stripes thing, I didn't think it was terrible. You know, we saw amazing performance from Kawhi Leonard, 31 points in 12 minutes. But I just think it's really underwhelming to play one quarter of basketball. I think we should really just go back to East versus West, put money on the line, and see NBA stars go at it. If they don't, it's just cooked. It's just the world that we live in.
Yeah, and it's interesting because this is something they've tweaked with quite a few times. They've had the system where they were drafting the teams. They had some team captains, and then they went East versus West, and then they went to a sort of semi-format tournament, and then back to East versus West, and just it's been a whole lot of change. And I want to ask you guys also about the skills weekend. They sort of eliminated the skills challenge this year. They did have the three-point and the dunk contest, but I don't know, that dunk contest wasn't quite up to standards, if you ask me to say the very least. Jaden, what do you think about the skills portion?
Yeah, I think the three-point and dunk contests are kind of, to take what Carson said, kind of just cooked. Like, the dunk contest has been around at this point for so long that everything's kind of been done and guys are going to go put their body in the line when Aaron Gordon already dunked over a mascot. Like, what are you going to do to top that, right? So guys are just kind of doing boring stuff, which is why I'm taking this idea from Carson. He said this back before he went on, to get some guys not from the NBA, but these kind of showcase players who can go around and make these crazy dunks and are going to be willing to do that because this is not the stage they're usually on, you know? And so I think that's a way you could really improve the dunk contest. And three-point contest is just kind of boring. I think with skills, it's probably a good idea to get rid of that whole thing. I think they really should stick primarily to just the game. I think Stars and Stripes is going in the right direction.
Okay, but get rid of the skills entirely? Oh man, that's tough for me because I think for the dunk contest first, it is hard and it's sad, honestly, to see the downfall. You talked about the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine days of that dunk contest. I mean, we saw some cinema. Dwight Howard, Superman, even Mac McClung, what he did over the last 3 years, three-peating. I just feel like these players, and honestly the league as a whole, is just kind of taking it for granted. We really see players that are just, okay, sure, I'll do it. You know, I think we see the top stars over and over again just kind of declining the invitation. And then the three-point contest, I think it hasn't been quite as bad, but still not what it was. Damian Lillard went out, however, did it on a torn Achilles, so he's still recovering, hasn't played a game this season, but went out and won the three-point contest. So shout out to him. There were some rumors that Steph Curry, though, he said that he wanted to get some guys together and actually go all in next year.
Confirmed it, yeah.
He mentioned Klay Thompson, Dame Lillard again, get actually the best three-point shooters in the game. Do you think that would make a difference, Carson?
Oh, for sure. I think with the three-point contest, it gets a little tricky because there's only so much you can do just shooting threes, whether guys are making a lot of shots or not. To be honest, I'm going to blame it on our generation, actually, because of, TikTok, our attention span isn't great, so guys are just so eager for entertainment. Like, oh, three-point contest is not enough. What are you going to do? Shoot from half court? So I think Steph Curry's going in the right direction of, recruiting guys like Lillard to come back and do it again. Who doesn't want to see the Splash Bros as they're on the end of their career? Go ahead and do it again. I think Colin Knipple's got to be out there again. He shoots the lights out of the ball. So as far as the three-point contest, they can't really do too much. Dunk contest, like we mentioned before the show started, just get the best dunkers in the world because at this point, you got guys like Vince Carter begging VJ Edge to come out and do it, and he's like, nah. So I blame our generation on it. Three-point contest, I think it's not really going in a right or wrong direction. It just is what it is. There's not much you can do to make it more or less entertaining.
Yeah, it's a fair point. And for me, I have one more proposal for you guys because this is something that's been not my idea. It's been floated around, and I think you hear it coming. I want a 1v1 contest. I mean, I just think that, again, if you can get the real stars of the NBA to actually come out and commit to doing this, I know that might be a problem. I know people talk about injuries and not wanting to do too much. I understand that. But if we saw just pure 1v1 blacktop style game like a 2K, just have the best players going up against each other, I just think that would be absolutely peak. Jaden, would you like to see a 1v1 contest?
Yes, definitely. I think that would completely revive All-Star Weekend. Like you said, the best guys going at it. And I think guys would feel more incentivized to really go ahead and compete because it's not, oh, yay, like Team Stars won, I won, I did it, So I think that would be really cool to get guys out there and maybe have some rivalries. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that could go on there. And I think, like, for the media aspect and the viewership, people would absolutely love that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been so much smoke, so much talk. I mean, even Kevin Durant with his burner accounts or whatever has been going on there.
KD files.
Right? I think, for me, put it all aside. 1v1, no excuses. There's nothing you can say. This is you versus him, best in the world going at it. No excuses. We get it done and we get to see it. I think it'd be peak. But guys, going back to the game, I want to talk a little bit more on that because I think this was it was a good format. I liked it. And I think I'll give some credit to Victor Wembanyama for setting the tone in this game because the one issue that we've seen, no matter the format, is just effort in the All-Star game. But he went out there for Team World and just competed. Unfortunately, Luka and Jokic kind of played the first little bit and then took a seat. That's fair. But Wemby, I think what he did was he set the tone, and he really got the Stripes, the Stars teams kind of going. The Stars ended up winning it all. Obviously, the young talent, Anthony Edwards. MVP, incredible. Got to give some credit to the OGs, though, on the Stripes. Kawhi Leonard coming in as an all-star replacement. You mentioned him earlier. But what he did, I just want to give some spotlight to this because he scored 31 points in 12 minutes. That's a quarter. That is Klay Thompson numbers right there. So I really like it. Do you think a continuation of this format will be good, Carson?
I think they'll try it again. Like I mentioned earlier, though, I think we just got to go back to East versus West and just kind of hope that guys try. Throw some money out there. I was honestly very surprised at the All-Star game. I don't know why it starts at 3 in the afternoon on a Sunday, though. I was in the middle of haircut. I want to go home, do my homework, and watch the game. But it wasn't too bad. Like you mentioned, Wemby is just great for the league. Even as a Thunder fan, I love the fact that he goes at Chet every time they play. That intensity, what some of the older fans of the NBA like to see with guys having rivalries. Also, the 1v1 tournament is, I don't know why it's even a discussion. It should be a no-brainer. But I think Wemby really came out there and set the tone. He made guys try. I would say we have to see maybe a year or two more of it. I just don't like the whole idea of starting with the Stripes. And you've got guys like Norman Powell, who's world team. He's from Jamaica. I don't think it was a bad thing, but I just have to see if it gets any better next year.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I think the point I really liked was saying the start time, because that matters. And I'm going to want to switch over just real quick and talk about the NFL's Pro Bowl, because, guys, in terms of start time, I didn't even know this was happening because it was going on at noon on a Tuesday. Guys, I was actually writing the scripts for this show. I was scripting it, and then I see on my phone, NFL Pro Bowl games, and I was like, what?
You get a notification?
Yeah, I got a
Jimmy Gibbs
notification.
touchdown? What?
And I was
What?
like, I knew it was on Tuesday for whatever reason. I don't know why it's not just the Sunday before the Super Bowl. But then I see this going on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the flag football Pro Bowl is going on right now. I couldn't even watch it. I'm at school right now.
Right.
But for me, it's so complicated because they also have a skills showdown they've been doing for the last few years. I think that was kind of maybe the one bright spot. They got rid of that. And also, this game was played in like a convention center in San Francisco. It was just not it at all. I just don't understand it. Jaden, I'll ask you, is the NFL Pro Bowl cooked?
The NFL Pro Bowl is really bad right now. And I think a lot of that is just because the NFL is such a physical sport. You can't have a true all-star game like the MLB does where players are going all out, right? Nobody's going to injure themselves for the AFC, for their conference. Like, nobody really cares. And I like the move to flag football. I think the first year they did it, it was pretty cool. They had it in like an actual stadium, and guys were playing pretty hard. And the skill show, I have no idea why they got rid of the skill show.
Yeah.
I used to watch that, and I'd be like, oh, maybe I'll catch the game. But I wanted to watch the skill show. I wanted to see dodgeball and the one-hand catch contest and all of that. It was super cool to see the stars going out like that and just having fun and showing off the personality and stuff. Like, they had punchers do the driving contest for a few years, I think. It was super cool. I have no idea why they got rid of that. And then these games this year, like you said, I didn't even know they were going on. And then I saw clips. I was like, where the heck are they even playing right now? Like, it looks like, I don't even know. It looks like a college facility,
Yeah,
like
truly.
the indoor facilities they have. I have no idea what was going on. I think they're going in the complete wrong direction.
Yeah, this was obviously the Super Bowl was in Santa Clara this year, and they did it basically in that area. Just it was truly like a convention center type of building. I mean, there were just hundreds of fans, maybe. Just not what you want to see from the apparent showcasing of your best players. And I think the other problem is once again players just not even participating. I mean, guys, the AFC quarterbacks were Shedeur Sanders, Joe Flacco, and of course Joe Burrow, thank you, but he missed half the season. This is a case where you have, supposed best competition. They don't even want to come to this game. Carson, what can the NFL do to fix this, or do you think all hope is lost for the Pro Bowl?
Nothing. It's good. It's wraps. I was thinking maybe just now put it on Saturday before the Super Bowl potentially. I honestly can't even give you anything. It's so cooked. I like the idea of flag football. They have to bring back this skills showcase. Guys are just opting out. They're sick this season. They want to get healthy. Again, I kind of blame it on our generation, but I don't even have anything for you. The NFL is just, for a sport so popular, for a league so popular in the United States, it's bad. I love Shedeur. I hope he does great, but 7 touchdowns and 10 receptions out there with the oldest quarterback in the league, Joe Flacco. I have no words. It's good.
Yeah, truly. Not the Pro Bowl talent we're hoping for, but that's unfortunately the reality. I think the NFL is struggling, and they're going to have to do something. You talked about baseball. I think that's kind of been the best, but
for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about it all, but that's all the time we have for this show. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to give us a follow on NTTV Sports for all the behind-the-scenes content. Check all that out. Make sure to stay tuned next Tuesday for SportsZone, and of course, see us again next Thursday. We will see you next week on SportsZone.